Well, hey, folks. I gotta learn some chords. I've been listening to April Flowers, and there's another person on YouTube who actually goes into the more Hawaiian type of chords, the flat sevens and sharps and the susses and stuff. Mark Crilio, is it Mark Crilio? Has been showing some beautiful ballads. I usually don't give a rat's behind about what's being taught on YouTube, but I do now, okay, because I'm really enjoying this baritone, and I mean, this is so light and so easy. Let me tell you something. I've been spending a lot of time with this baritone over the last couple weeks. This is how I check the tuning on the ukulele. Just like, because this is in guitar tuning, and we have this chord. It's the C chord, and if a guitar is tuned just right, that chord will sound beautiful when you move it up to the 3rd fret. You start here on the 1st fret. This is a C. When you slide it up to the 3rd fret, because the baritone is in guitar tuning, DGBE, the first 4 strings are in guitar tuning. Just like on the guitar, when you slide that C from its 1st position to the 3rd position. Now there's a name for that chord. I forget what it is, because it's not in the chord. It's not in any of the chord books. Now people who study their chords by notes instead of by, shapes. They study the notes of the scale to know the chords. I don't do that. I do everything by patterns and positions and grids. Okay, so everybody knows that plays guitar, and you can do the same thing on the baritone because it's tuned like a guitar. When you tune your guitar or your baritone ukulele, you take that C. That's a C. When you slide it up to the 3rd fret, it has to have that sound right there. That's how you know it's tuned properly. You have a beautiful C. And then you know it's tuned properly. And that's one of the ways I check my tuning. And you can do the same thing on the tenor ukulele. In this case, it would be a F. Two things I want to say real quick about the ukulele, the baritone ukulele specifically, is I want to disagree, first of all, with Terry Carter, You Like the Pros. Stop telling people that the ukulele, any of them, including the baritone, is a way to transition from ukulele to guitar. No, it is not. 4 strings are 4 strings. 6 strings or 6 strings. 4 strings are 4 strings. 6 strings or 6 strings. An instrument with a body where you have to wrap your chest and your arm around it is a different animal than an instrument that you can hold up like this. The sound of the guitar is more articulate. The casing in here is more mellow here than a guitar. So if you get used to playing a baritone and then you switch to the guitar, number one, the guitar is a bigger animal all the way around. And you're playing with steel strings. And you're wrapping yourself. You're playing the instrument with your whole body, not with just your elbow and your fingers. Okay? And also the spacing. You can put a whole finger, look at that. You can put a whole finger between the spacings of these strings. On the guitar, the spacings are closer together, so therefore it's easier to hit a wrong note. Okay? So 4 strings are 4 strings and 6 strings are 6 strings. Okay? And when you play the ukulele, you're going to play open chords where the guitar might play bar chords. And you're going to play bar chords where the guitar might use like 3 or 4 fingers. Okay? It all depends on the chord shapes. But the guitar is not a transition to, the ukulele, the baritone, is not a transition to the guitar. You either want to play the baritone or you want to play guitar. I play guitar, so I know. Okay? When I pick up that big boy behind me, which is an electric guitar, it's thinner than this ukulele, so I'm not rapping like I do an acoustic guitar. I'm not rapping. And this is why I love the baritone. This is why I love smaller instruments. This is why I started going ukulele, because number one, I found out that one thing all ukulele players are missing out on is that, you're wrapping yourself around that big old acoustic guitar. When I play a tenor or a baritone, it has the same feel of playing an electric guitar, even better, because this is really light. I played this in church and I walked up there like this. And I was talking to people like this, and we were talking about music, and I was like, yeah, because this thing is so light. But the sound is amazing. And you can come up here, because this is a ukulele, you can come up here. Your F chord, which is not an F chord, it's a F, G, A. This is an A. Your A chord on the ukulele, on the baritone ukulele that is, does not sound like the one on the guitar. The one on the guitar sounds deeper and has a deeper hollow sound to it. But what I love about the baritone is you can get beautiful sounds when you move up the neck and come up here to where the tenor ukulele is at. You can still get beautiful sound. Everything's not down here. You can come up here. also, first of all, again, it's not transition from baritone to guitar. It is transition from guitar to ukulele while you go to a baritone. If you play guitar, now I have a friend who he plays electric guitar more than he plays acoustic, but he plays both. I gave him both an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar that I wasn't playing anymore. I gave him both one of my acoustic guitars and one of my electric guitars. And he said he loved the baritone because he just loved the baritone. Guitar players know the difference between a baritone and an acoustic guitar. That size of the guitar and the steel strings is a big difference. Okay? And the fact that a guitar has 6 strings more closer together is a big difference. So there's a lot of guitar players out there that will play a baritone, but they will not play a tenor, soprano, or concert. Okay? So let me go over some specifics here. Let me tell you 2 things. If you're playing a C on your, and just in case you don't know, most of y'all should know by now that have been coming and looking at my boring videos. If you are playing a C on a tenor, that C becomes a G on a baritone. If you are playing that C becomes a G, and your C becomes a F. No, your F becomes a C. So when you switch from tenor to baritone, your F becomes a C. And your C becomes a G. And your G, switching from tenor to baritone, becomes a D. There's your D7 and your G7 on the tenor. But on the baritone, it's D7, it's D and D7. Your A becomes, your D becomes an A. Your D becomes an A. And your A becomes an E. And when you're going up the neck, your B flat becomes an F. Your C, B flat, B, C. Your C becomes a G. When you play this F formation here, these are triads. And your, let me see, this would be B flat, C, D. And your D becomes an A. Okay? And, which people don't know, is that when you play baritone, your Hawaiian tunes are played, and this is why a lot of Hawaiians stick with the tenor when it comes to playing traditional Hawaiian music. They stick with the tenor, soprano, and concert because when you go to the baritone, in order to get good Hawaiian sound, a guy just showed me this today, he played the Hawaiian vamp on baritone, you're going to go to your A or your D instead of your G chords to go, for example, okay, like this is the Hawaiian vamp on the tenor. that's an A. It starts off with A7, D7, and G on the baritone. On the tenor, that would be D7, G7, and C. Now you see how good that sounds. It sounds very tenor and very Hawaiian, just in a lower register, but that's a totally different tuning. You done went from D7, G7, and C to A7, D7, and G. Okay, so therefore, if you want to sound Hawaiian, or you want to sound more ballad-like on the baritone ukulele, like you do on the tenor, you want to change your key. And if you want, and this is the beautiful thing about the tenor, if you want to play more Hawaiian stuff, or you want that tenor sound, or you want that more trebly sound of the tenor, you can do this. So there you have, like, what are these, sixes? I think these are sixes. You have sixes there that are like Hawaiian. These are sixes. Okay, so but if you play the baritone in the guitar tuning like it is, then it won't sound as Hawaiian-ly, like I'll show you. Okay, so what were those chords? What did I say they were for the Hawaiian vamp on the tenor? They were D7, D7, G7, and C, right? So that would be like this. It would be D7, okay, D7, yeah, it would be D7, 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 G7. See the difference? There's the same Hawaiian vamp, but it sounds totally different because it's in the same key. See? So if you put it in the tenor key, it's going to sound kind of off compared to the ukulele tradition. So there it is right there. There's your D7. There's your, wait a minute. Yeah, there's your D7. Now that sounds good if you're playing in the background behind a tenor. That sounds good. But if you're soloing, that does not sound very Hawaiianish. You know what I mean? Let me do that again. Now, with the triads, we could do something here. Let me see. We can try a different kind of C. Trying to think here. It would be hard for me. I don't know another C inversion up here. When I do, you can play a different C somewhere up here to make it sound a little bit more Hawaiian than that. But that sounds, I wouldn't play the Hawaiian vamp in that key on a baritone, because listen to it. That might sound good to some people because they just love that, you know, I forget what numbers those are, but they just love that sound no matter what instrument you play it on. But listen to it in the baritone Hawaiian key. First, the tenor Hawaiian key. that sounds more Hawaiian. That's the same fingering that you would play on the tenor or concert or soprano. You would play that same finger for the Hawaiian vamp. But if you played the Hawaiian vamp in the same key that they play it on the tenor, again, it would be... See? And that doesn't sound that as great as it does on the tenor. You know what I'm saying? Let me get my tenor and play it the way most people play it. I think it's still in tune. Okay? I love it. I love both these instruments. I love them both. You know, some days I'm a tenor freak and other days I'm a baritone freak. Lately I've been spending a lot of time with my baritone. But last but not least, we don't play our baritone like it's a guitar. Now, I showed you in another video that I did how, because this is a ukulele, it's not a guitar. People say there's no bass lines, but you can get deep tone behind chords. You play a chord, so there's different things you can do to make up for those bass lines that you're missing from playing the guitar. But you're not here to compete against the guitar. If you need a guitar can play backup for you in the background. But I'm just saying, the baritone stands by itself. And again, I did a video not too long ago where I told you that what the reason the ukulele and the baritone, what the creators of the baritone and the ukulele were thinking when they made these part of the ukulele family. What they were thinking about the band. So I still say that every Because, we're all going to have more than one ukulele, and we're all going to have more than one tuning, right? So every ukuleleist should have a baritone. Because what the baritone says is, I don't need to know how to play guitar, or I don't need a guitar to play deeper tone or to accompaniment myself. I can play ukulele on a baritone. The only thing I need to do is know the tuning and know the keys. Again, anything that you play on the baritone, when you're playing on the baritone, on the tenor, everything might sound Hawaiian. But on the baritone, you're going to select certain keys for a more Hawaiian sound, just like I showed you here. You switch keys, use the same fingering, different key. Use the same fingering to sound Hawaiian, but it's a different key and a different chord progression. So there you have it. That's all I wanted to show you. And again, you don't have to transition from ukulele to guitar like Terry Carter says by playing a baritone. You know what a good transition from ukulele to guitar is? Get a baritone guitar-lele or guitar-lele or gila or kinku. Okay, that will take you, because that has 6 strings and it's tuned like a guitar, and it has 6 strings like a guitar. It's just a smaller instrument, but you're playing 6 strings. They're going to be nylon, but you're playing 6 strings like a classical guitar. A baritone guitar-lele is very similar to a classical guitar. So if you're going to transition and make it easier for yourself to transition from ukulele to guitar, then you get yourself a baritone guitar-lele. You don't get yourself a baritone ukulele. Because 4 strings is 4 strings, 6 strings is 6 strings. Steel strings are steel strings, nylon strings are nylon strings. The size and shape of this instrument right here and the sound of it is the size and the shape of this instrument, and the size and shape of the guitar is the size and shape of the guitar. It's a heavier instrument all the way around. It's bigger. It's heavier to handle. You got to wrap yourself around it and really put yourself into it. Okay? You can't just sit back like this and play it, because you got to wrap yourself around it. Unless you get yourself one of them Hawaiian guitars like Corey has, Hawaiian Music Supplies. He plays a guitar that's about the size of a tenor guitar, but it has 6 strings. And so when he plays, he's got all this space in between the instrument and his underarm. It ain't got to hug around it like we do most acoustics. He's right here, just like I am with this baritone. He'll sit it on his lap like this, and he'll play it like this, and got all this room in here. And that's why I love the baritone. And I found out that not only do I love the baritone because, I can play my favorite guitar chords on it easier. That's true. I love the cheat codes. I love the cheat. But I really love it because I found out that with 4 strings, I become so creative. And when I played acoustic guitar, I never spent this kind of time with it. Okay? I never spent this kind of time with it. I didn't. When I pick up this guitar, this ukulele, this baritone, I want to know the chords. I want to read the chord books. I want to know the scales. I want to know how I can do so much more with these 4 strings. But I never felt that way about an acoustic guitar. I felt that way about an electric guitar, but I've never felt that way about an acoustic guitar. And I love the sound of this. I love the way it feels. I love the ease of play. And a lot of times when I want to plug in even my electric, I end up picking this up and playing it because the same thing that I'm going to play on that electric guitar, I'm playing it easier on here, except for the scales. This doesn't, because it has nylon strings and has a smaller body, doesn't have the articulation, and the fretboard's not made for that kind of articulation. It doesn't have the articulation that the steel strings and a bigger body has. So, you know, but this, you know, the range that you have, just like I said, you can come up here to the 5th and 6th fret and you're in tenor mode, and then you got all this range here to go with it, and you even got more room down here to go with it. Well, about the same. But let me stop before, because I want you to watch my videos. Y'all hate my long videos, so I'm going to stop there. But just thought I'd talk about that. The main reason of this video was what? It was for you to understand that if you want your baritone to sound more like your tenor while it remains a baritone, you want the chords to sound just as Hawaiian as the tenor, then you have to play the same fingerings, but you're going to be in a different key and you're going to be playing different chords. Okay? And that's it. But the baritone is not a transition to the guitar. If you got a kid that wants to learn how to play guitar, give them a baritone ukulele, 6 strings. And then he can transition from there. She can transition from there to guitar. But don't get him a baritone ukulele. Okay? Because when he goes to 6 strings, he's going to be lost. You can go from tenor guitar to baritone better than you can, okay, the other way around. But I do believe that if you're going to be a guitar player and you want to get into the ukulele, you can start at the baritone, being you know your guitar chords that well. You can start at the baritone to transition to the other ukuleles, but not transition from baritone to guitar. Terry Carter, you're wrong about that. Okay. I know you're trying to sell a product, but don't burn your students like that. Okay. God bless you. And I hope you enjoyed this. Talk to you later.